Damar Hamlin's uncle telling CNN that he had to be resuscitated twice. And this is the first time that we are hearing from a member of his family about his condition. And it comes along with what we're hearing from a source with the Bills who says that the team is in wait and see mode. Those are their exact words. Now, that same source also adds that the Bills players and staff are still processing what they saw happen on the field, right, where they were playing him collapsing, going into cardiac arrest before having his heartbeat restored. And at this hour, Hamlin remains in the intensive care unit in critical condition. And I want to go now to Adrian Broadus because, Adrian, you are the one who's had the chance here to speak to his family, his uncle, and learning this crucial development about him having to be resuscitated twice. What did he tell you?
He said the family is heartbroken. I spoke with him right here at the corner of the hospital. I approached him in full transparency. When I walked by, I heard him speaking on the phone with someone, and he was describing how his heart dropped. And initially, I thought this person might have been a player. I noticed he had on a visitor tag, and then I asked him if he was a player, and he said, no, my nephew is inside. And here's more of that conversation.
He's still sedated right now. They just want him to have a better chance of recovering better. So they felt that if he's sedated, his body can heal a lot faster than if he was woke and possibly cause other complications. So they got him sedated right now, and I mean, it's just heartbreaking seeing him like that, right? I mean, you know, we were in Pittsburgh watching it on TV, and his little brother was there with us. And when he seen his brother drop like that, and when I tell you I never seen him cry or scream like that, like we were trying to calm him down, like, yo, it's okay, you know, he'll gonna get back up, he'll be back in the game, you know, woo. Next thing you know, it's 10 minutes later, they're doing chest compressions. It's a half hour later, they still not playing yet. I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's wrong with my nephew? And then, like, when I say, like, now we were all in the room crying, man, we were all in tears, man. And I'm not a crier, but like I never cried so hard in my life, man. Just to know like my nephew basically died on the field and they brought him back to life. I mean, that's just heartbreaking. And to see all those grown men crying and all the emotion, man, it really was a gut punch, man. And I would have been crying no matter who it was, but for it to be my nephew, it had that much more impact on me, man. And I'm just glad he's just still alive and able to fight and trying to get better and recover.
You told me off camera your nephew died twice. Can you explain?
Well, his heart had went out, so they had to resuscitate him twice. They resuscitated him on the field before they brought him to the hospital, and then they resuscitated him a second time when he got to the hospital. So I just want to show my gratitude for the medical staff that were on hand, because if not for them, my nephew probably wouldn't even be here.
An abundance of gratitude for the medical staff here. He also described what he has seen inside of the hospital. He said his nephew is flipped over on his stomach, and he told me that is to help with the blood on his lungs. He also says the next step is for doctors to get his nephew to breathe on his own. And he says he was only outside because he needed to get some fresh air. He told me he has been in this hospital all day, overnight, with his family, including Damar's mother, who rode in the ambulance with her 24-year-old son yesterday. Back to you.
Adrian, thank you very much. Reporting there live from Cincinnati. Really crucial details here as we all try to understand what happened and what will happen. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, is with me, along with Dr. Jonathan Reiner, who is a medical advisor in the George W. Bush White House and the director of the cardiac cath lab at GW Hospital. So these scenarios, doctor, of course, something that you know from personal experience. Sanjay, first, though, let me ask you about what Adrian is just reporting from Damar Hamlin's uncle, that he was resuscitated twice, once on the field and once when he got to the hospital. That he obviously is still not breathing on his own, and that he's flipped on his stomach because of possibility of blood clotting in his lungs. What of all of that stands out to you, and why?
Well, it sounds like obviously there's a very significant cardiac event here. We still don't know exactly what caused this cardiac event. But what we heard from the Bills statement originally was that they were able to restart or obtain a normal rhythm of his heart when he was on the field. But then sounds like he deteriorated again and needed to be resuscitated again when he was at the hospital. Sometimes when the heart is not functioning well, you start to have fluid that starts to build up, and the fluid can build up in the lungs, can build up in other parts of the body, and that may be what Adrian and I guess his uncle was describing there. And you implement various techniques then to try and make it easier to ventilate the patient, make it easier to actually provide oxygen and eliminate carbon dioxide from the body, and sometimes flipping the patient over onto their stomach can help facilitate that. It's speculative. I just want to be clear, we're going on very little information here and these descriptions, so I want to be very careful, Erin, in
Yes.
trying to, we're not even certain of the diagnosis at this point, what exactly caused all this, and B, what exactly is happening. What we do know for sure from that original statement is that he did have a cardiac arrest. This was a cardiac, heart-related event of some sort.
Yep.
But what exactly it was and how it now is being treated, I think we're starting to get more and more details of.
And Dr. Reiner, do any of these details, whether it be the need for a second resuscitation or anything else, stand out to you as a cardiac surgeon?
Yeah. So first of all, our notice that he needed to be resuscitated a second time when he got to the hospital suggests that Mr. Hamlin's heart was what we would call electrically very irritable. Not only had he had the first cardiac arrest on the field, but he then, essentially relapsed and had a second cardiac arrest, suggesting again that he was really not electrically stable. The second piece of information, which we had certainly not heard before, is that Mr. Hamlin is in the prone position. That is used only when it is very difficult to oxygenate or move gases in and out through the lungs, potentially because he was in something called pulmonary edema. And this happens when the heart is simply not functioning. And as you said, and as Sanjay said, when fluid backs up in the lungs. But taken as a whole, what this suggests is that he's just incredibly critically ill at this time. And he's fortunate to be in an institution that has the capacity to provide this level of quaternary care.
Sanjay, what are the possible implications of a situation like this when you think about, if as he gets better, and we all, of course, hope that he is getting better. We don't know he's in critical condition right now. He's in intensive care. Can you fully recover from this? I mean, I know it's hard because we don't know exactly what this is, but from what you know and from the time that's passing and from the position he's in, can someone like that likely have a full recovery?
Well, I mean, he's a young person, that certainly is going to work in his favor. I think what we're missing is a couple of really critical pieces of information. We still don't know exactly what caused this. Was there an underlying problem that somehow was exacerbated by, when on his play on the field? We're not sure, at this point.